Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Coach Everett Withers Show as we're going to chat a little bit with the Dukes head coach and some other features for you here about James Madison University Dukes football. I'm your host, Curt Dudley, and this past Saturday, the Dukes had their Coach Withers home debut, and it was against, well, St. Francis, the Red Flash, and Coach, it was a good debut. The Dukes came out with a 38-22 win, and congratulations, first of all. How did it feel to get a home victory in front of the crowd there, more than 22,000 there at Bridgeport Stadium?
Well, Curt, it felt really good. The fans were excited. The players were excited. I think everybody that came to the game got what they were expecting at the game. A good game against a good opponent.
A good opponent you mentioned, and a good opponent that got out of the gate in a hurry.
Yep.
Kahari Dixon, we knew he was going to be a pretty good running back.
Right.
And that was going to be a point of emphasis defensively, is to slow him down. Did they take a page out of Lehigh's book, though, the week before?
Yeah, they did. There were a couple plays in there that we hadn't practiced, but they did a lot of things that Lehigh did as far as the counter run game that we had seen the week before, and added a few things. Their quarterback was not healthy for the game, so the run game became a real focus for them. And I thought they did a heck of a job. I think they're a very well-coached team, very talented, very physical on offense.
Yeah, Zach Dreyer ended up coming out. You prepared for or Max, his name escapes me here at the moment here, but their other quarterback who had started for you. Did that change much? I mean, when you noticed or realized that this other quarterback wasn't going to start?
Well, we felt like that the run game was going to be a big emphasis anyway, but we knew once the quarterback was down and the backup quarterback was in the game that we felt like we were going to get a bunch more to run game. And we did. We got a lot of the run game and some quick passing game, but mostly a steady diet of the running game.
All right, you take the early lead.
Yes.
Actually, you get a turnover on their first drive,
Right.
which was good. First takeaway of 4 for the day.
Yep.
You get an early lead because this young freshman, Jimmy Moreland, jumps a route. They sent a bide in motion.
Sure.
I didn't see the JMU personnel really redeploy at that point. Did you know that was coming? Was that something you kind of set back and waited on?
Well, we had a call on that allowed us to bring pressure from the field no matter what they did in their formation. And it allowed us, if they were going to throw off of that pressure, a hot throw, that we were going to be trapping that side. And Jimmy did the exact same thing at Maryland in the first ball game. He was able to jump in front of a route, a hot route, and it's kind of designed to do that. Forced him to throw a hot route, and a cornerback step in front of him. Jimmy played it perfect. The pressure was good, the execution of the stunt was good, and the coverage was good.
All right, okay, and then you got your running game going. In fact, you lead the Colonial Athletic Association in yards per game rushing. You said that was going to be a focal point, a necessity for you to run your offense. What do you feel about that at this point?
Well, I would have to say our offensive staff has done a really good job of working our run game and doing the things that we can do on offense to run the football. We've got an offensive line that we're putting together, molding each week, and those guys are starting to come together. Coach Davis has done an unbelievable job with that offensive line, and those guys are starting to gain some confidence that we can run the ball. 2 consecutive 300-yard rushing games for us has to build confidence in our offense that we can run the football.
And you, back in August, I know you were switching some players around, putting guards at tackles and guards at center and what have you. That seems to have already paid off for you because you've had to do so because of, well, injuries, basically.
Yeah, and I think that was the reason we did that. And, I kept getting asked, what's your starting offensive line? Well, we didn't have one. We were trying to get guys to learn multiple positions, so if we did have an injury, we could plug a guy in at a spot and not miss a beat. And it's like you said, it's starting to pay off for us on offense.
Let's talk a little bit about Vad Lee. Certainly had a great game on the ground. 174 yards rushing, also threw for 147 as well. Please evaluate his game for us from last Saturday.
I think Vad is progressively just taking this offense and getting better with it. He's taking small steps. I think he took a big step in the run game this week. We had a few more design runs for him this week. He took a big step there, but what he also did was when the passing game broke down, he didn't hesitate to take off and go, which was part of what we wanted him to start doing a little bit more of. And he did that in the game, and it allowed us to do some other things on offense, run the ball also.
He's been throwing it more than 30 times a game. Will we see that number continually, or how will that adjust potentially, or does it really matter?
Well, again, it's a matter of what people start allowing us to do. If they're going to gang up to stop the run, then hopefully we get a few more one-on-ones on the outside part of the field. We can throw the ball a little bit more. We want to be a little bit more efficient in our passing game. We haven't felt like that's an area that we've progressed enough at. So we're going to continue to work at that. Hopefully get better with his reads and be able to do, and we like to be balanced, to be honest with you. We like to be 50-50 if we can. You know, that sometimes coaches say that and you don't get there sometimes, but we like to continue to try to work that way.
Well, I'm sure you're looking at your playbook and you're not going, okay, we've passed 10 times, we need to run now 10 times just simply as the game comes out.
Right.
It's a one play-by-play
Sure.
experience, the way that it all breaks out.
Yeah.
Now, that ended up with his great yards on the ground, but also Juwan Latney. And I'm very pleased to see this redshirt senior, fifth-year guy, come out with a career high, 106 yards rushing, and he gets into the end zone for the second time this season.
Well, Juwan is one of those guys, when we started back in January and February, he was, you know, a guy that we didn't know what his role would be on our football team, to be honest with you. And he just continued to work. He has a maturity about him. He had a great summer working out. And then we felt like we have to find a role for this guy. And then through summer camp, he just continued to be one of our steady backs. So he's in that rotation of running backs. He's done a great job, and he allows us to continue to build some depth at that position.
He ran the ball in the second half mostly against Lehigh. This week it was 50-50, 8 in the first, 8 in the second. Is there a design as to when he will come into the ball game? Because he can be one of those guys that as you wear them down, he can be a bruiser in the second half.
Well, that's kind of his role. His role is, you know, we run, you know, some other backs in the game early, run some perimeter runs early, and then as the game goes on and we start to wear on an opponent's front, then you like to bring a guy like Juwan in, or even an Alden Hill in the game, late in the game, and be able to run the ball consecutively. So he has a role on our team. He's a great special teams player for us, as is Alden. So both of those guys are kind of in the same mode, and they give us some the ability to do some things late in the game.
Statistically, this was the big impact game for the defensive line. Sage Harold named the Defensive Player of the Week, a senior. A defensive lineman with 10 tackles.
Right.
That's a pretty remarkable feat. And he's played pretty well all 3 games, but this certainly was by far his best ball game.
Yeah, Sage is one of those seniors with some maturity, leadership abilities. He's one of our captains. And I think this was really, Sage and Brandon Lee were 2 guys that really, I felt like this game they felt comfortable in their roles in the defense, and they were able to play faster. Brandon played really hard. Sage played tremendous. He's always playing hard, but he was more productive in this game. 10 tackles, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, a sack, all those things, and we expect that production from him throughout the year.
Xavier Gates, he also had a pretty good ball game there, clogging up things in the middle. He was credited for the block on the field goal. What's your assessment of his game Saturday?
Again, Xavier's one of those guys continuing to learn his role on our defense and getting better each week. You know, a guy that transferred in here from Kansas State. And again, I think he just continues to get better. We have a lot of guys still trying to learn their roles on our defense and on our team, period. And Xavier's one of those guys that keeps improving.
So you played the FBS school to begin with. Now you've got 2 FCS. So this sample is still relatively small.
Sure.
But where do you think things are in your schedule of things?
Well, I think we're headed in the right direction, you know, and I keep telling people when you play, you know, 17, 18 freshmen and redshirt freshmen, you know, small victories are important, and I look for those small victories every week after a ball game. I look at where we can improve, but also the small victories, and we're making them. We're starting to get some presence in our special teams by some freshmen that are really helping us. We're starting to get some presence, obviously, on offense. We're playing, you know, almost 9, 10, 11 guys at times on defense that are freshmen or redshirt freshmen. So those guys are continuing to get better. You can't get frustrated and too impatient with those guys. So I'm pleased with our growth. We want to continue to make that growth.
All right, very good there. The Dukes winners, 38-22. That leaves them at 2-1 on this young college football season. When we come back, we'll have a little chalk talk. We'll break down a couple of the plays with the defensive and offensive coordinators for the Dukes. But first, this time out here on the Everett Withers Show.
Office products, we buy right so you can too.
That's right. At Office Products, we do things right. With our multi-million-dollar inventory of new, used, and refurbished furniture, you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. From desks to chairs, filing cabinets, and so much more.
your brands that you're looking for. Office products, we buy right so you can too.
Office Products, we do things right.
Hey, did you know Harrisonburg Nissan has the best selection of pre-owned cars in the Valley? With something for everyone. Best selection, locally owned, #1 volume dealer, it all adds up. Check it out at harrisonburgnissan.com.
Clear to zip. Break a little. Touchdown. Good job. Game on.
Okay, showing a couple of highlights here from last week's game here against St. Francis here. Here we line up in empty left. Okay, we have a concept known as go, which is essentially 4 vertical routes downfield. Okay, we're in a 5-man pass protection here, and St. Francis brings 6 defenders here. Okay, so Vad knows right now that he's going to be hot. Offensive line does a pretty good job here of picking it up, okay, and trying to squeeze the air out of the gaps here for this linebacker here to try to insert. Okay, Vad does a great job keeping his eyes downfield. Okay, he has what's known as a green grass rule. And that green grass rule is if he sees green grass, take it. Okay, use his feet as a check down. Does a really nice job here getting out open space. What really shows up downfield is these guys blocking here. Daniel Brown doing a phenomenal job. Dean Cheatham really giving extra effort here to free Vad up and allow him to score. Really neat play for our offense. Really excited about that. Just showing it from a protection standpoint here. Matt Williams does a nice job, he and Eric Buckholtz, of passing off this 2-man game that's happened inside and squeezing the air so that number 9 here, kid with the towel, doesn't have anywhere to insert. But really nice job, exceptional job just by Dean Cheatham here, latching on a defender and blocking him through the duration of the play. Really giving great effort. Really proud of that play for him. It's a great play for our offense.
Hi, I'm Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator at James Madison. I'm here to review a couple plays from this past weekend's game against St. Francis. I want to thank the fans, the alumni, everybody that was at the game. It was a big-time college atmosphere, and certainly an atmosphere that helped us on defense. We really fed off the crowd, and as you'll see, these 3 plays I'm about to show, there's a lot of energy in the stadium on these 3 plays. The first play is probably a play that everyone that was at the game will remember. It was in the first quarter. We were in our territory. They were in a 10 personnel look, a 4 wide receiver look. So you'll see 2 receivers split both sides, and then they motion to the field. We are in a field-oriented pressure with our nickelback Dean Marlowe and our safety Aaron Peak blitzing from the top with our 3 defensive linemen. What we're going to do is we're going to trap the coverage to the blitz, meaning we're going to rotate the corner to trap the flat, and then we're going to take the 2 inside linebackers and slice them underneath the number 2 and number 3 receivers with Raven Green as the half-field safety over top of them. So we get exactly what we want. We get a quick pass into the blitz, and then you're able to see Jimmy locate the ball and finish for a touchdown. That's exactly the way you draw it up. It's a similar play to what we ran against Maryland where Jimmy had an interception. But you'll see the underneath coverage here does a great job of denying the quick throw between the number 2 and number 3 receiver, and then Jimmy's able to vision the quarterback and finish the throw. And we're able to get the return for a touchdown, and obviously great energy in the end zone from the fans and the band. If you take a look from the behind copy, you'll get a good picture of what the quarterback's seeing, with 2 blitzers in his face. And we're able to finish the play there with Jimmy.
Well, we want to thank Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator for the Dukes, and co-offensive coordinator Brad Davis. We'll hear more from Brad in just a little while. Let's go back to the defensive side of the football. Dean Marlowe, he's out of Queens, New York. He's the strong safety for the Dukes. He flies around everywhere, but he did sit down for a little while to chat with Autumn Morowitz here on the Coach Everett Withers Show.
Hi, I'm Autumn Morowitz here with Dean Marlowe. Dean, this is your 5th season at JMU, your first under head coach Everett Withers and defensive coordinator Staley. What do you see as big changes so far this season?
I see that we're more of a family-orientated type of team now, and we have a lot of structure with our team. Our coaches put us in great positions to be successful, and I think they do a great job at that.
After winning at Lehigh this past weekend, Coach gave your team a C+. What do you think you have to do as a team to boost your grade?
I think we need to learn how to stop the run better.
What are your personal goals for your senior season here at JMU?
My personal goal, I would say, is to be the best teammate that I can be, and teach a lot of the young guys things that I didn't learn as being a freshman. So that's number one. And everything else personally, I just want to keep doing what I've been doing for the past 4 years and just keep enhancing my game.
Where do you see yourself going after this season when you graduate in December?
December graduation, I want to graduate first, get a diploma, and hopefully I have a great season and at least future endeavors in football, so that would be great.
And what if football doesn't work out for you? Do you have any other plans in mind, a plan B?
Both of my parents are retired NYPD officers, so I think I'll probably head down that way if football doesn't work out for me. But I might not be able to leave the game of football, so we'll see where that takes me.
Either way, you'll have something to do with football.
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
I'm Autumn Marowitz for Madison HD Sportsnet and JMView.
Thank you, Autumn. Coming up next, we'll hear from Brad Davis, the offensive line coach and the co-offensive coordinator for the Dukes. But first, this time out on the Everett Withers Show.
Did you know Harrisonburg Nissan is 24 years old and locally owned? Plus, you can shop from home 24/7 online with our express buying service. Check it out at harrisonburgnissan.com. Give us a fighting chance.
Get more of what your family wants from Telos Wireless. Now share 10 gigs of data, unlimited talk and text on 4 lines for just $140 a month. Want even more? How about zero down on all smartphones? We'll even buy out your contract. More phones, more lines, and more data. Stand up and demand more. Telos, wireless for the people.
Office products, we buy right so you can too.
That's right. At Office Products, we do things right. With our multi-million-dollar inventory of new, used, and refurbished furniture, you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. From desks to chairs, filing cabinets, and so much more.
All the major brands that you're looking for. Office products, we buy right so you can too.
Office Products, we do things right.
Clear to zip. Break a little. That's good. Good job. Game on.
Come closer. Yeah, that's it. If you buy now at Harrisonburg Nissan, you won't have to make a payment till 2015. But don't tell anyone. If the word got out, everyone will be buying there. Check it out. harrisonburgnissan.com.
My 9th grade year of high school, my older brother was a senior and played football. I could not play because I had a hip surgery as a kid, and the doctors told me I would never get a chance to play football. So I actually became an equipment manager for the varsity football team. And one of my duties was pregame to go up and set up the headsets for the coaches. And there was actually a game where I got a chance to wear a headset and really get a chance to see the game objectively from a coach's standpoint. I got a chance to listen to the calls getting put into the game. I got a chance to watch our players execute, and I got a chance to watch the feedback that coaches gave one another between plays. So I was really intrigued by that, and I knew it was something I always wanted to do. Also, I had coaches along the way that have given me so much as a person that made me believe in myself. that empowered me, that showed me how to utilize football as a means to get to where I want to be in life. So since probably the 9th grade, I would say for sure, I knew I wanted to be a coach in some aspect and give back to young people. You know, when my wife and I found out we were coming to James Madison, there was an instant feeling of excitement. Again, this is a premier FCS job in terms of the facilities, the fanfare, the history and tradition, and great players that have come through this program. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We were really excited. Also a chance to work for Coach Withers, who has treated my wife and I very well throughout our coaching career. So very excited about that. Getting here through the spring, you know, didn't really understand how much work we had to do, you know, but we certainly are trying to change a culture and really restore the order here that, you know, the people expect us to compete at a championship level. So, you know, just every day we show up to work excited about the opportunity. We understand the expectations that are here, and, you know, we just do our best not to let down the people that support this program. We've taken baby steps every week. You know, I think our kids have worked really, really hard, and that's something that we're very proud of as a coaching staff. But hard work and effort should not be mistaken for execution. You know, there was no better feeling than to walk out that tunnel in Maryland and with the expectation that we're going to win the game, but we didn't execute on all phases of the game. So, I mean, you know, getting punched in the mouth in front of 40, 50,000 people is a good way to give you a wake-up call that you need to improve. We went out to Lehigh the next week and made baby steps. We fought. We had a strong second half showing where our guys were resilient. They fought for each other. They pulled together. Still made a lot of mistakes, but took a baby step in terms of learning how to win and how to finish a game. And then this past week against St. Francis, you know, our guys, still some mistakes, you know, not very cohesive altogether, but still making plays when we need it. You know, our offensive line has done a great job of rushing the football, of really trying to take a lot of pressure off Vad, and really just owning that, you know, physical mantra, you know, playing hard, playing fast, trying to make our opponents tap out. I'd like to be 3-0 instead of 2-1, you know, but I tell you what, just the attitude our kids have, you know, the way they come to work and go about their business, the way they're taking care of business off the field in the classroom, I couldn't be more pleased as a coach. You know, we have light years to go to get where we want to be, but our kids are working at it, and that's all you can ask for as a coach, is to every day show up, take the next step forward, and continue to progress. Sure, we love it here. You know, we're excited to be a part of the Harrisonburg community. We've totally been embraced by the people here, and just we're having a blast. You know, every day we show up to work, I want people to know that we are working diligently and as hard as we can to really, really try to get this place back on top where it deserves to be. So there's not a moment of the day where we're not trying to find some aspect of this program that we can improve and enhance to really get this program back to hoisting the trophy up.
Thank you very much there, Coach Davis. Well, if you didn't know, there was a lot of news this past summer in the NCAA about legislation, about movement within the NCAA, power within the NCAA, quite a bit. One of the things that came out was about meal plans and the availability of student athletes not to go hungry. Well, let's bring in Stephen Laporta of the JMU Compliance Office to talk a little bit about what's accessible to the JMU student athletes.
Hi, my name is Stephen Laporta, and I'm the Director of Compliance for Rules Education here at JMU. I wanted to take a second and thank Curt Dudley and the entire Madison broadcast for allowing us the opportunity to educate you all with some important issues that are affecting our student athletes. In the recent past few months, there have been several media reports of student athletes going to bed hungry at night. So we wanted to take this opportunity to educate you as to what we are doing as an institution to ensure this doesn't happen. The first thing we do is all student athletes have the ability to select a meal plan. On-campus students have 3 meal plan options to choose from. Off-campus students have 7 meal plan options to choose from. If they're a full scholarship student athlete, we will cover the entire cost of the meal plan. If they're a full scholarship student athlete living off campus, not only will we cover the entire cost of the meal plan, but we'll also give them the remainder of their room and board check back to them with whatever money's left over as a monthly allotment. New NCAA legislation was passed in August, which allows institutions to provide unlimited meals and snacks incidental to participation to student athletes. Here at JMU, we are using that legislation to really benefit our student athletes. What it basically means is anytime a student athlete is participating in athletics activities, we can provide them with meals or snacks. The one important thing to remember is that this legislation is for institutional staff members to provide meals to our student athletes. If you're a friend of the program, you are limited as to how many or how often you can provide meals to student athletes. If you provide meals to student athletes without the proper approval, it could be considered an extra benefit, which would affect our student athletes' eligibility. So, if you're a friend of the program and you really want to help feed our student athletes, we would appreciate that. Please reach out to us so we can work together to make sure all NCAA rules are met and we have no issues. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the JMU Athletics Compliance Office, and we can work together to make sure we have no problems. Thanks, and have a great day. Go Dukes.
Thank you very much there, Stephen. When we come back, we'll talk about the upcoming opponent for the Dukes, the Wildcats of Villanova. It is CAA time here on the Everett Withers Show.
Get more of what your family wants from Entelos Wireless. Now share 10 gigs of data, unlimited talk and text on 4 lines for just $140 a month. Want even more? How about zero down on all smartphones? We'll even buy out your contract. More phones, more lines, and more data. Stand up and demand more. Entelos, wireless for the people.
At Harrisonburg Nissan, right now, you can get 0% financing on select models. Hey, keep your money. Use Nissans. We'll honor and beat all buying service prices. We want your business. Check it out at harrisonburgnissan.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Everett Withers Show. Time now to talk about the Dukes' next opponent. It is CAA conference time. It is. The Dukes going up to Villanova to play the Wildcats. Coach, they opened up the season with a bit of an eye-opener as they took Syracuse into double overtime. In fact, they gambled a bit. They went for 2, didn't get it in the second overtime and came up short. I'm sure that's the game that you're really looking at to try to get a gauge for Andy Talley's team. Sure.
Coach Talley is an unbelievable coach. Going into his 30th year at Villanova, won a national championship in '09. Has really built a program that's kind of test the times, and done a really good job of recruiting there. You watch them against Syracuse, and they do not look out of place versus Syracuse. In fact, I really applaud him for going for 2 and trying to win the game. I think I'd have done the same thing, but he's done a really good job. Got a physical football team, really fly around on defense. Got a quarterback that's one of the best in the country in the FCS. And they've got some talented, skilled players. So it'll be a challenge for us, and we're looking forward to it.
John Robertson, the preseason Offensive Player of the Year, as well as the reigning Offensive Player of the Year in the Colonial Athletic Association, is their quarterback. You talk about a quarterback that runs as a +1.
Yeah.
I look at him as more like a +1.5, 1.75. How do you stop this young man?
Well, hopefully we've had enough practice going against our offense and going against Vad Lee. He's a talented guy, got a lot of speed. You watch him on tape. He even runs away from some guys at Syracuse. And so he's got a lot of talent. He can throw the ball. He has a great command of that offense right now, and that's something that you look at. You look at a quarterback that has command of what he's doing on the field, and he has that right now for them.
Game always seems to be slow for him for one reason or another. Defensively, they run 3-man down with their hand on the ground, and you said in your press conference earlier this week, what you like about them is that they all collectively, I think it's play number 58 for you in game 1.
Yeah.
They all run to the football.
Yeah, you can tell they've been coached really well, and one thing you see is that effort to the football, and they trigger really fast. When the ball's handed, they trigger. When the ball's thrown, they drop in coverage. When the ball's caught, they all trigger to the ball, and the effort you see on them on defense is really good to see as a defensive coach. Obviously, we have to play them this week, so we have to find a really good way of being able to move the ball against a good defense.
Another name I want to throw out to fans is Poppy Livers.
Yeah.
He had a punt return for a touchdown for the Wildcats against Syracuse, and he's returning a good chunk of yardage every punt return, certainly on your radar.
Yeah, he is. I had a chance to meet Poppy at the CAA Media Day, and he's a very charismatic young man, and he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and you can tell he's one of those guys that really enjoys the football game when he's in that arena.
So the Dukes at Villanova this weekend. Kickoff time will be at 12:30. For Coach Everett Withers, I'm Curt Dudley. Thank you for joining us this week here on the Everett Withers Show.